Welcome dear students. Today we will be discussing about the pineal gland, its structure, secretions and functions. The main objectives of today's lecture are to know about the history and development of pineal gland, to describe the location and histology of pineal gland, to discuss the structure and secretions of the pineal gland, to explain the functions of the pineal gland, and finally to understand the effects of melatonin hormone. Dear students, let us first start with the history and development of the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a tiny endocrine gland found in the brain and was originally believed to be vestigial. But later in 1917, it was found that the extract of cow pineals lightened the frog's skin. Interestingly, a dermatology professor, Aaron B. Lerner, and his colleagues at Yale University studied and found that a substance from the pineal might be useful in treating skin diseases, and finally isolated and named the hormone melatonin in 1958. Discovery of this hormone helped to understand some complex mechanisms and gave a strong boost to the then new field of chronobiology. Until about 1 to 2 years of age, the human pineal gland grows in size, remains stable thereafter, although its weight increases gradually from puberty onwards. The abundant melatonin levels in children are thought to inhibit sexual development, and when puberty arrives, melatonin production is reduced. Location and histology of the pineal gland. The pineal gland lies in the middle of the brain, in between the two hemispheres as represented in the figure. It mainly contains pilenocytes or pinocytes, which are the cells that produce the hormone melatonin, and glial cells, which are a particular type of brain cells that support neurons. The pineal gland is a small neuroendocrine gland shaped like a pine cone, hence the name pineal. It is inferior to the diencephalon in the brain. The main role of the pineal gland is nocturnal secretion of the hormone melatonin, which is the major determinant of the sleep-wake cycle and the internal body clock. The pineal gland is attached to the roof of the third ventricle of the brain at the midline. The pineal gland, about the size of a pine nut, consists of two main cell types, pinocytes and astrocytes. Pinocytes, which are the principal cells of the pineal gland, are specialized neuronal cells histologically similar to the rods and cones of the retina, while as the astrocytes are the star-shaped neuronal cells with long spindle processes that contact pinocytes. The pinocytes are able to transfer information on light and dark into a hormonal response in the form of melatonin production. The astrocytic processes form the infrastructure to which pinocytes are tethered, and moreover, the astrocytes form part of the blood-brain barrier system. Let us now discuss the structure of the pineal gland. The pineal gland is an unpaired midline brain structure which took its name from its pine cone shape. The gland is reddish gray in color and about the size of a grain of rice, that is about 5 to 8 millimeters approximately in humans. From the structural point of view, the pineal gland is composed of two main types of neural cells, that is pinealocytes, specialized secretory neurons, and glial support cells. Among all endocrine organs, it has a very rich blood supply that forms a network of capillaries surrounded by the pinealocytes. It receives innervation from many parts of the brain, but the main connections are with the following: the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the retina, the sympathetic system, and the parasympathetic system. The pineal gland often appears calcified in X-rays, which is usually due to fluoride, calcium, and phosphorus deposits that build up with the age. Now let us discuss the secretions of the pineal gland. The pineal gland secretes the hormone melatonin, an amine hormone derived from serotonin. Melatonin appears to contribute to the systematic process of the body's biological clock, which is under the control of the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus. As more melatonin is liberated during darkness than in light, this hormone is thought to promote sleepiness. In response to visual input from the eyes, that is the retina, the suprachiasmatic nucleus stimulates sympathetic postganglionic neurons of the superior cervical ganglion, which in turn stimulate the pinealocytes of the pineal gland to secrete melatonin in a rhythmic pattern, with low levels of melatonin secreted during the day and significant higher levels at night. During sleep, plasma levels of melatonin increase tenfold, and then before awakening it declines to a low level again. Small doses of melatonin given orally can induce sleep and reset daily rhythms, which might benefit workers whose shifts alternate between daylight and nighttime hours. Melatonin is also a potent antioxidant which ensures protection against damaging oxygen-free radicals. Suprachiasmatic melatonin is readily absorbed after consumption, and dietary supplements containing melatonin are useful in certain conditions like jet lags. Moreover, there is an increasing evidence that melatonin protects against different cardiovascular diseases, especially in elderly people who have decreased endogenous synthesis. The release of melatonin varying over a period of 24 hours period can be well understood from the figure shown. Melatonin production increases in the evening, peaks in the middle of the night, lowers by early morning, and falls to normal by daytime. In animals that breed during specific seasons, melatonin inhibits reproductive functions, but it is unclear whether melatonin influences human reproductive functions. Melatonin levels are higher in children and decline with age into adulthood, but there is no evidence that changes in melatonin secretion correlate with the onset of puberty and sexual maturation. Nevertheless, because melatonin causes atrophy of the gonads in various animal species, the possibility of its adverse effects on human reproduction must be studied before it is recommended for use to reset the daily rhythms. Dear students, let us now discuss the functions of the pineal gland. The pineal gland serves a common function in all the species studied till date. Essentially, it conveys information to body physiology concerning light-dark cycles for the organization of seasonal and circadian rhythms. The pattern of secretion of the pineal hormone melatonin forms the basis for this message, and a considerable amount of information has accumulated regarding the coding of photoperiodic information by melatonin. The pineal gland exerts most of its effect on bodily systems through the secretion of its major hormone, melatonin. Melatonin increases the concentration of serotonin and catecholamines in different areas of the brain. So melatonin also increases the concentration of biogenic amines, and biogenic amines themselves participate in many of the normal and disturbed functions of the central nervous system, like mood disorders and sleep disorders. It is likely that melatonin exerts some of its actions on the bodily systems by influencing the biogenic amine transmission in the central nervous system. Now let us discuss the melatonin, that is the pineal gland hormone. The main function of the pineal gland is to produce melatonin, which performs various functions in the central nervous system, the most important of which is to regulate the sleep patterns. Melatonin is synthesized and released during the dark phase of the day-night cycle. Melatonin secretion is halted on exposure of the eye to light. The precursor to melatonin is serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter derived from the amino acid tryptophan. Serotonin is acetylated and then methylated to yield melatonin in the pineal gland. The light sensitive nerve cells in the retina detect the light and send this signal to the suprachiasmatic nucleus (SCN), synchronizing the suprachiasmatic nucleus to the day-night cycle. Neurofibers then relay the daylight information from the suprachiasmatic nucleus to the paraventricular nuclei, then to the spinal cord and to superior cervical ganglia via the sympathetic system, and from there into the pineal gland. Now the melatonin receptors. Melatonin receptors are the G protein coupled transmembrane receptors. The activated receptors exert their intracellular effects through the second messenger CAMP. Melatonin is lipophilic in nature, therefore it passes radially through the cell membrane and having biological effects resulting from binding to cytoplasmic or nuclear receptors as well as from those on the cell surface. Pineal gland may develop benign and malignant tumors. The most common of these are germanomas, which develop from the embryonic cells which have migrated through midline structures such as the pineal gland. The disturbance in the usual sleep-wake cycle results in various disorders of the melatonin production, which ultimately led to the following conditions like shift work disorder, insomnia in persons with poor vision, and jet lag. Now let us discuss the pineal gland and its relevance to the circadian rhythms. The circadian rhythms are one of the most important centrally coordinated and physiological, psychological and behavioral processes, which in humans follows approximately a 24 to 25 hour alternating cycle. The circadian rhythms are genetically programmed in humans to synchronize with night and day. From over a decade, there has been an expansion of interest in circadian rhythmic systems, how these systems regulate certain body processes, how their disruption impact health, and ultimately how they can be manipulated to improve the health and optimize treatment systems. The pineal gland is a key to the body's internal clock as it regulates the body's circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms are the daily rhythms of the body, including signals that make someone feel tired, sleepy, awake, and alert at the same time each day. The pineal gland, by secreting melatonin hormone, helps to regulate these circadian rhythms. Melatonin is produced according to the amount of light a person is exposed to. The pineal gland releases greater amounts of melatonin during dark, which refers to melatonin's role in sleep. So a number of supplement manufacturers nowadays offer melatonin as a natural sleep aid. Besides this, there are some additional important functions of the pineal gland. Pineal gland also plays some role in the bone metabolism, mental health, drug metabolism, aging, and sense of direction. First, now let us discuss bone metabolism. The function of the pineal gland tends to decline with age. The studies on mice suggested that the change in the function of the pineal gland can affect bone metabolism. The study confirmed that oral melatonin supplements could help increase the bone mass, which could be useful in the treatment of postmenopausal osteoporosis. Postmenopausal women are significantly more prone to osteoporosis than the other groups. Now let us discuss the role of pineal gland in the mental health. Sleep and mental health are intimately linked. Sleep deprivation can cause some mental health issues. Some mental health disorders may also make it more difficult to sleep. So various mental health conditions have been found associated to access to light. For example, the seasonal affective disorder, a form of depression affecting a person's mood and tends to occur when light levels are low. This may be due to change in melatonin secretion. Now the role of pineal gland in pituitary gland functions. The pituitary gland protrudes from the hypothalamus of the brain. The hypothalamus is linked to a wide range of hormonal functions, including growth and thyroid function. There are a number of previous studies suggesting that the pineal gland can affect the behavior of the pituitary gland. So melatonin may block the pituitary gland from secreting hormones that play essential role in the development of the ovaries and the testes and regulate functions such as the menstrual cycle. Therefore, melatonin secreted by the pineal gland may be essential for the normal functioning of the pituitary gland. Now the role of the pineal gland in drug metabolism. Some recreational and prescription drugs have been known to alter the function of the pineal gland and also change melatonin secretion patterns. A study reported that the pineal gland could play a dynamic role in addiction to different psychostimulants like cocaine. Now the role of pineal gland in the aging. With age, the pineal gland tends to secrete less melatonin. It is unlikely that melatonin is the sole culprit for age-related change, but reduced levels of melatonin could help in explaining the aging process. Change in the melatonin might explain the phenomena that the older adults tend to sleep less and may have trouble falling asleep. Now the role of pineal gland in sense of direction. A previous study of people with impaired pineal glands reported that any damage to the pineal gland is associated with declines in the sense of direction, which suggests that the pineal gland might play a largely unrecognized role in spatial navigation. Let us discuss the effects of melatonin. Melatonin has three main effects, which in combination serve to synchronize body physiology with environmental levels of light and darkness. It induces sleep, hypnotic effect. It resets the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It influences the hypothalamus, affecting the behavior. Now let us discuss the biological effects of the melatonin. Melatonin has important effects in integrating photoperiod and affecting circadian rhythms. Consequently, it has been reported to have significant effects on reproduction, sleep-wake cycles, and other phenomena showing circadian rhythms. Let us now discuss the reproductive effects of the melatonin hormone. The effect of melatonin on reproductive systems can be summarized by saying that it is anti-gonadotropic. In other words, melatonin inhibits the secretion of the gonadotropic hormones, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone from the anterior pituitary gland. Much of this inhibitory effect seems due to inhibition of gonadotropin releasing hormone or GRH from the hypothalamus, which is necessary for secretion of the anterior pituitary hormones. Seasonal changes in the day length have profound effects on the reproduction of many species, and melatonin is a key regulator in controlling such events. In temperate climates, animals like hamsters, horses, and sheep have distinct breeding season. During the non-breeding season, the gonads become inactive, but as the breeding season approaches, the gonads must be regenerated. Photoperiod, the length of the day versus night, is the most important clue allowing animals to determine which season it is. As the pineal gland is able to measure day length and adjust secretion of melatonin accordingly, a hamster without a pineal gland or with a lesion that prevents the pineal from receiving photo information is not able to prepare for the breeding season. So, one practical application of melatonin's role in controlling seasonal reproduction is its use to artificially manipulate cycles in seasonal breeders. For example, sheep that normally breed only once per year can be induced to have 2 breeding seasons by treating them with melatonin hormone. Now, the effects of the melatonin on sleep and activity. Melatonin is not a major regulator but has a considerable effect on the normal sleep patterns. A study using melatonin either alone or in combination with phototherapy in order to treat sleep disorders gained a lot of interest. Many researchers have indicated that melatonin levels are lower in elderly insomniacs relative to age-matched non-insomniacs, and melatonin therapy in such cases appears to be beneficial for treating the problem. Another sleep disorder is seen in shift workers who often find it difficult to adjust to working at night and sleeping during the day. The utility of melatonin therapy to alleviate this very problem is equivocal and appears not to be as effective as the phototherapy. Another condition involving disruption of circadian rhythms is jet lag. In this case, it has been demonstrated continuously that taking melatonin close to the target bedtime of the destination can alleviate symptoms. It has the greatest beneficial effects when jet lag is predicted to be worst. In many species, including humans, administration of melatonin has been shown to reduce motor activity, induce fatigue, and lower body temperature, particularly at high doses. The effect on body temperature may play a significant role in melatonin's ability to entrain sleep-wake cycles as in patients with jet lag. Now, the melatonin and the human mood disorders. Depression is the commonest type of human mood disorders described in literature. From the psychiatric point of view, depression covers a wide range of affective states which includes normal and abnormal mood swings. Multiple biological theories have been put forward to explain the underlying causes of depressive illness. Desynchronization of biological rhythms has been suggested as the cause for the precipitation of manic depressive. Since the pineal gland has been known to be involved in controlling various bodily rhythms, a lot of attention has been paid in recent years associating pineal gland with affective disorders. In the year 1979, Wetterberg noted for the first time the hypofunctioning of the pineal gland as reflected by decreased levels of melatonin in body fluids. Later on, many other investigators working in different areas of the world also reported the presence of low melatonin syndrome in a group of depressives. These researches revealed that certain forms of depressions could occur due to the biochemical defects in the synthesis, release, and actions of the melatonin hormone. The effective role and involvement of melatonin in affective disorders was supported from the research of psychoactive drug administration in experimental animals and in patients associated with affective disorders. Now let us discuss other effects of melatonin. Melatonin may also have therapeutic applications in the treatment of a range of other conditions, including Alzheimer's disease, headaches, and mood disorders. Now let us discuss problems associated with pineal gland dysfunction. The main problems associated are headache, nausea, vomiting, tremor, difficulty with sense of direction, osteoporosis, and mental health issues, particularly seasonal symptoms. The pineal gland may accumulate calcium deposits. These deposits are normal in healthy individuals, but excessive calcification can prevent the pineal gland from functioning properly. As the pineal gland is closely associated with the hypothalamus, problems associated with the hypothalamus, including cancer, growth, or hormonal issues, can cause abnormalities in pineal gland function. Although the pineal gland tumors are rare but can also alter pineal function. The most prominent symptom of pineal gland dysfunction is a change in circadian rhythms. This might mean sleeping too much or too little, feeling active and restless in the middle of the night, or feeling sleepy at unusual times. Dear students, it was all about today's lecture and hope you have understood it well. Goodbye.